Kelly Ripa and her husband, Mark Consuelos, are in a trusting marriage. However, when it comes to the actor's on-screen secrets, he keeps them strictly to himself, even from his wife. Mark is set to star in the upcoming Scream 7 alongside Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox. The horror sequel is currently shrouded in mystery, and it seems Mark won't even let slip the true identity of Ghostface to his wife. During an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Kelly opened up about her husband's new role. "He's the killer," she joked. The 55-year-old explained that Mark really honors the sanctity of NDAs when something is top secret in his professional life. "He's told me nothing," she shared, adding that she still tries to get information out of him. "I know nothing. He's very, very secretive. But I always joke that he could be the killer." While Mark stayed tight-lipped about the project, he shared that it means a great deal to his eldest son, Michael, a devoted fan of the Scream franchise. "Our son, who's 28 now, this is quite possibly the most impressive job I've ever booked for him," he said. "This is the coolest thing I've ever done. I do have a script that I'm going to bind in leather for him after it comes out, because obviously he'll know if I do that beforehand, and I can't spoil it now." Hello, as film and TV editor Nikki Morris spoke to us about what fans can expect from Scream 7. "Scream fans, myself included, will be counting down the days until the release of the 7th installment," she shared. Not only does the upcoming film mark the return of the core trio Sidney Prescott, Campbell, Gale Weathers, Courtney Cox, and Dewey Riley, David Arquette, but fans can also expect to see Matthew Lillard reprise his role as Stu Macker, the original co-Ghostface killer. Plus, original writer Kevin Williamson will be back to direct the film, so it's safe to say the franchise is returning to its classic roots. Kelly and Mark tied the knot in 1996, when they eloped in Las Vegas a year after meeting on the set of the soap opera All My Children. They went on to welcome kids Michael, 28, Lola, 24, and Joaquin, 22. While her husband continues to juggle his acting roles alongside hosting live, Kelly shared that performing isn't on her agenda right now. Her last major starring role in a scripted television series in the 2003 ABC sitcom Hope and Faith. "I try not to act so much anymore. It's not that I don't appreciate it, it's not that I don't love it," she said. "But I really am devoted to this show and my podcast. I feel like my plate is full. Also, we have 3 adult kids, and I like to be present in their endeavors, and our daughter is now starting to perform in the music scene in London, so I like to be able to be present if she needs or wants me there. When you're an actor, your schedule is not your own." Kelly carefully balances her dedication to her family alongside her career projects. We interviewed a very special person in the Ripa/Consuelos life who gave insight into the family's tenacity. Anna Kaiser is Kelly's personal trainer, and in an interview with us, she explained Kelly never cancels, no matter what is going on in her life. They laugh about it at home, they tease each other in public, and they still manage that enviable shorthand married couples develop after decades together. But even in a marriage that the tabloids and talk show hosts adore, there are lines the couple deliberately doesn't cross, and one of those lines, as it turns out, is whatever cloak and dagger the upcoming Scream 7 production has wrapped around its plot. On a breezy afternoon interview, Ripa, the quick-witted co-host who has spent more than 3 decades sliding between scripted acting and unscripted on-air improvisation, let slip the kind of domestic confession that makes fans grin. Her husband, the man she married after meeting on the set of All My Children and who has spent the past several years balancing talk show duties with recurring dramatic roles, is a professional secret keeper when the job requires it. "He's told me nothing," she joked, then smiled in that knowing way that lets you know she's tried every angle. It's the sort of line that would feel like a throwaway if the couple didn't have a track record of gentle theatricality, a wink and a nudge that invites speculation without ever tipping the scales into actual spoilage. But the truth is practical, not cinematic. When a production is under wraps, NDAs and studio protocols are real and tightly enforced, and actors who respect them do so for a reason. Mark, by all accounts, honors that sanctity. He sounds almost proud of the silence. Still, Ripa's amusement is infectious. She doesn't present herself as a starlet-in-waiting desperate for a scoop. She presents herself as a partner who both understands the job and delights in the small mysteries husband and wife life hands you. In the interview, she did what any curious spouse would do. She poked, prodded, and teased him as if she were a stand-in for the audience. He could be the killer, she said, half joking, half pleased to keep the game alive. A gift that's both sentimental and spoiler-safe. If Mark's lips are sealed, he's not entirely against sentimentality. During conversations about the film, he revealed something sweeter than a spoiler. The role means a lot to his eldest child, and Mark plans to make a keepsake for him once the film has premiered. He told interviewers he'll have the script bound in leather, a proper, old-school present for a son who's grown up loving the franchise. It's the kind of gesture that reads as both a father's brag and an actor's reverence for the craft, something to hold, to frame, to leaf through once the secrets are public. That, more than anything, helps explain the strict secrecy. It's not about cultivating mystique for mystique's sake. It's about protecting the surprise for audiences and preserving that big moment joy for the family. If you've ever watched a crowd discover a twist together, you know that some things feel small until the reveal, and then they feel enormous. Mark's approach keeps that feeling intact. Reunion of franchise favorites, and a hint of classic roots. For fans of the series, the very idea of new entries carries both expectation and nostalgia. This latest installment is notable for returning faces. Franchise's core trio, Sidney Prescott, Gale Weathers, and Dewey Riley, are expected to be a through line, bringing the tone back toward the elements that made the originals grip audiences. Longtime fans will also be watching for the return of original villain mythology threads, and whether the new film leans into the franchise's slasher roots or reconfigures them for a new generation. Those casting touchpoints, the actors, the writer-director alumni, the callbacks to prior installments, are the sort of candy that keeps the fandom buzzing year after year. And when a familiar face like Mark steps in, the double thrill is that he's adding gravitas and a connection to today's TV-driven celebrity culture. His career arc, which includes daytime television prestige and dramatic turns on episodic series, makes him a useful bridge between two different entertainment worlds. Home life, the balancing act behind the laughs. The couple's public persona is something of a balancing act. Married in a private ceremony in Las Vegas back in the mid-1990s after meeting on the soap set, they've since built a life that blends show business rhythms with a surprisingly regular domesticity. They're parents to 3 grown children, and their family priorities often dictate the choices they make about projects and schedules. Ripa, who once dipped deeply again into scripted sitcom life on the early 2000s series Hope and Faith, has lately chosen to focus on the present demands of her talk show and her podcast. She's candid about the practicalities of that decision. When you're the kind of actor who can be summoned to set for long, unpredictable blocks of time, family events, the daughter's first concerts in London, a son's graduation, the everyday needs of adult children carving careers, can suddenly feel impossible to coordinate if you're away for months. So she tends to say yes to what she can manage, and no to what will fracture that domestic rhythm. That doesn't mean she's turned her back on performance. Far from it. It's a conscious choice to be present where she wants to be, anchoring a morning show that demands spontaneity and reliability, and being around when her kids need her. It's a trade-off that reads like an adult commitment to priorities rather than a retreat. The couple's dynamic, jokes, jibes, and genuine admiration. Anyone who's watched the two of them on TV knows they trade barbs the way seasoned improvisers do. Quick, affectionate, and often funny to the point of being disarming. That humorous tempo is part of why their marriage lands as believable, not because they never argue, but because they seem to find amusement and tenderness in the same exchange. Ripa's teasing about being kept out of the loop is exactly that kind of exchange, an affectionate nudge that lets viewers in on the joke without exposing real tension. This dynamic extends beyond the studio floor. Friends and collaborators, from trainers to coworkers, describe Ripa as relentlessly steady. The person who shows up, even on little sleep, who works hard not just at her public-facing job but at keeping the private life humming along. Her trainer, who has worked with her for more than a decade, has said she